What's up, everyone? This is Breaking the Cage Astrology TV. I am Bells, or Shaman. My real name is Michelle Espinosa. If you're trying to find me on Facebook personally, that's how you'll find me. Give me a second to have another sip of my drink, because the amount of stuff we got to talk about. Oh, Lord. It really is. If you could take yourself out of all of the emotional baggage and all of the political baggage and everything, it's a glorious time. It really is, to see what's taking place and transforming. However, on a much smaller scale, individual scale, really getting into our lives and our emotions. The next 6 months, the next 6 months, I had said a couple weeks back, and I wasn't fully getting it until now, that spirit kept giving me like the squeeze, when really what they were giving me was like being in a vice. The pressure is on now that we've hit the solstice, and I really started doing some astrology, really looking around and poking around at stuff. And so the pressure is on, and right now is really coming down to just how devoted are you to your spiritual growth, your soulful growth, your emotional attachments, versus being able to control your emotions. Because we're about to get hit hard with lessons on, and I hate to say it, it's like shadow work 3000, like shadow work 3000 now, and the floor is just falling out. But this is a good thing, because it's really, if we're really doing it, we're really devoted, we're really working it, then we're really going to see where we're missing pieces, if we're willing to see them, and if we're willing to do that work. I've been said to say you have to do the hard work, and people are constantly asking me, well, what's the hard work? The hard work is facing the shit head on, accepting it until you find inner peace. Period. That's what it's coming down to. And I had said the week before last, because I didn't do last week's video, that we were being given the court gesture, and I'm seeing it even more now, which is also connected to the Fool card in astrology. But the court gesture goes with the flow, doesn't take anything seriously, however is very wise, intelligent, knows it all, yet will mock, the king, showing him the mirror or the error of his ways in a light-hearted, fun way. Play and dance, never take it too seriously, always willing to go around the next corner, try the new thing, because he knows he's already got it. A lot of that has to do with where we're going. But in order for me to explain that, I'm going to back up just a minute. Now, we just had, before I get any further, I did not do the video last week, and I do want to say, because I did put a post out there, and I think it's important. It's not even that I think it's important. It's my guides are also reminding me that, I get people all the time who come to me as clients, and I never tell them, like I can fix them. I help them fix themselves. That's the way this works, is helping us to understand, I'm here to hold your hand, and I'm here to help you understand what you're getting and direct you in certain ways, but it will still be the work that you do. that ultimately will get you there. With that being said, the shaman has problems too. The shaman has to learn new lessons. The shaman has to fall on their face and whatnot too. And a big part of mine was pride. And a big part of mine is on the path I'm going is they're telling me I've got to be more raw with the things nobody wants to uncover. And they're telling me to use myself in this because we all need to see that we're not alone, and having people who will come right out and admitting, you know, like I was saying, the only way to heal and to grow is to face it head on. Issues of shame, fear, anxiety, doubt, caught in the matrix hive mind idea and can't get out of it, and where we just bury ourselves in the sludge. And I'm saying, because I came out and I posted a bunch of information because I was in a bad situation, and I want to say thank you to all who contacted me, who was willing to help in any way, shape, or form. I appreciate all the love that was shown. It definitely helped me. It definitely got me back into the better place, but I also understand now why it's so important, and I'm going to be talking about that on probably another video. But I wanted to say to the community, I'm so grateful that we have this community, and that, we are seeing people in a higher vibrational caliber that are, able to help us continue to rise or climb that Jacob's ladder, so to speak. So that I just wanted to say thank you. Now let me go back to the astrology. We just had, or we're getting ready to have, a double full moon. And what I mean by that is when it goes around the cycle and it happens twice. So we just had the full moon here at the solstice, because we just had the solstice, which means you're automatically being put on a 6-month period of what you're looking at of growth. Halfway point would be the equinox. But we have the Lion's Gate coming in, which is going to be off the chain. And I'm preparing us to understand that this is like a 6-month period of work. And with it, you're getting a double full moon in Capricorn. Capricorn is all about the foundation. And if it's rocky, can you build on this foundation? Is it crumbling? Does it have good bones? We're looking at where the bones suck, where we thought we've overcome things, but it's still, like rotted wood, where we've been in denial, where we've been in shame, where we're, holding on to technically mutated sludge within us. This would be your emotional energies, residual, trapped in your chakras of what has not healed. This has a lot to do with DNA upgrading. So you're ultimately having this whole month here in June of Cancer season going, guess what? It's not just a pressure cooker we're in, but we're in reverse. We're walking in reverse. And I don't mean it in like retrograde terms. I mean it like back up, reassess. It's like this month is not forward movement necessarily. This month is all about security, or where it's missing, or how we're attaching our heads to it incorrectly. Still in that 3-dimensional idea. With that being said, you have Neptune and Saturn, which are about to go retrograde. So these two are in Pisces and they're not moving. It's like a dead stop, meaning like their existence is full flown, can go any damn direction. Saturn is your rules, your walls, your boundaries, your resistance, your friction. Neptune is your fantasy, your reality, your fantasy meets harsh reality, where illusion and delusion collide, where the dream is a nightmare because you're realizing it that way. Or the dream is fantasy and you're delusional. I mean, it's 12th house, and Pisces energy can be very hard and mysterious to understand because it's ruled by Neptune. But where all of this is taking place in Pisces. This is also Pisces energy is very compassionate and loving, but at the same time, not always smart about it, but also mischief. I mean, and what I mean by that is meet somebody at the bar, think that they're a nice person, going to bring them home, and that could be the person that robbed you blind. You know, bring the stray dog home. So we're not always in our right thinking. This has a lot to do with that 12th house, grief, sorrow, shame, blame, skeletons in the closet. These two are stopped, meaning in that illusion and delusion, fantasy and reality, everything is about to crash and then go into retrograde. Okay? Lionsgate is the next thing to come up. We're heading towards August, the Lionsgate 8-8. You start feeling the energy midway through. Those who are really sensitive can start feeling the energy building midway through July. It's often said, like the last week or so, I'll post about this as well. You can find it on my page. I'll go back and write about it. You can start feeling the energies of the Lionsgate often that last week of July. But more sensitive people will start picking it up closer to mid-July. Now, this is what I want you to hear, because I want you to understand what I mean by I'm literally hearing right now in my head like a, 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 a dump truck is what I'm hearing. Like, ha! That fits so perfectly. A dump truck backing up. Beep, beep, beep. And that's what we're doing right now. We're dumping the trash. We're backing up to dump the trash. We're accessing, we're figuring out what goes in the trash that we've overlooked. Anyway, Lionsgate 8-8, August. Starting in July, you're going to start probably feeling this. But in August, you will have, in August, on the Lionsgate, you will have Mercury in retrograde. You'll have 9 retrogrades here. You'll have Mercury in retrograde. You'll have Pluto in retrograde. You'll have Neptune in retrograde. Saturn in retrograde. Then the ones that people don't talk about. You'll have Pholos, which is full loss, the way Spirit gives it to me. You'll have Chiron, the wounded healer. You'll have Nessus, the curse. You'll have Sirius, not Sirius star, Sirius, which is karma, the threefold, nurturing or neglecting in retrograde. And you'll have Carticlaw, which is the shaman. Right now, we have Nessus already in retrograde. Nessus is already in retrograde. Saturn and Neptune are about to go in retrograde with it. So all of Pisces will be in retrograde. Like I said, to crash, okay? Pluto is in retrograde. Pholos, full loss, is already in retrograde. You have Sirius, karma, is already in retrograde. And Carticlaw is already in retrograde. So at the Lionsgate, you're going to have 9 retrogrades going on. When we hit the equinox, you're 3 months. This is halfway through the task at hand. Halfway through, you will have Uranus in retrograde, Neptune in retrograde, Pluto in retrograde, Chiron in retrograde, Nessus in retrograde, and Carticlaw. That's 6. And then when we come into full semester of this lesson, at the next solstice in winter, you will have, or December, no matter where you are on the planet, it will be Mars, Jupiter, Uranus, Chiron, and Carticlaw. But so your next 3 months is literally like, beep, 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 backing up to dump the trash. And making sure that we're understanding what, why, how we're doing it right and wrong is the important part here. For the rest of this month coming, because we're in Cancer season, first thing you need to realize is, like I said, it's the pressure cooker, it's the vice, it's the big squeeze. But Cancer is also connected to the four, not the four, sorry, is also connected to the Queen of Cups. That's your empath. That's your intuition. That's the psychic energy. But that's the mother, the feminine. Okay? I'm also getting 54 with this, but I'm going to come back for that in a minute. Remember, you're going to have a full moon. You just had a full moon in Capricorn, which is the father, masculine energy. Very cold energy, very take action energy, very grounded energy, and wanting to build things to last a long ass time. Wanting to see a return for what it puts its investments in. Where the feminine, the mother, is more nurturing and wanting to help grow and understand and creative. It's also your inner emotional security. So this month is talking to us about security. But with that, I'm also getting Spirit is giving me diamonds. And diamonds, I already posted about this. You can go back onto my page and find it, where I'm talking about diamonds and I'm talking about DNA, and I'm going to be getting into more of that. If you check my page, I'll be writing stuff. But diamonds have to do with the temperature and the pressure it takes to create diamonds. Okay? Then it's starting to talk about, I'll get into that a little bit here in a minute because I'm going to get back into DNA. But this is all going with that Cancer energy. Security, inner emotional security versus three-dimensional security. Your job, your money, the roof over your head, your car. The things that make you outside of yourself feel secure versus knowing I got this, believing in that energy, stepping into that source energy, knowing that inner emotional security cannot be ripped from you, and putting us back into that place. But with it being a mother energy, that security is also going to be, come on, I don't care how old you are. Every once in a while, I don't care how old you are. I don't care if you're the mother. Every once in a while, you just want to feel safe and secure. And for lack of better words, I want my mommy. You're going to start to see the false security of what's outside of us. It's no longer going to be existing. We're starting to rape and destroy and pull that down. It's like the tower in tarot. The tower is falling. False security is falling apart. That tower is coming the fuck down. So this is really making us look inward at our grief, sorrow, shame, blame, insecurities, where we're afraid to face ourselves and tap into that source energy that is part of you. What keeps you from believing in it? What keeps you from doubting it, bringing you back to this three-dimensional world where you need to touch, I need this crystal to make me feel better. Because it's all in you. Everything's coming from you. You're creating it. But in the three-dimensional world, that's a little bit twisted. It doesn't quite fit that way because we feel it. And that's what I'm talking about here. We're moving into a new era of I just want mommy to make it better, or I just want this to make it better. I just want God to make it better. You are God. You have that seeding source to create your own reality. And stepping into, for lack of better words, what consciousness, what the creator, what God gave you. I'm giving you the tools, is what he's saying. It's about allowing, and the hollow bone, a thing that shamans say, allow everything to flow through you. but not become attached to any of it. It's observing. It's finding it funny and interesting. Fool the court gesture. Going with the flow and having no fear. Inner peace. Matt from Matrix Minds here posted the other day, and I reposted it because I found it perfectly understandable, considering we're also looking at Saturn and Neptune, along with Nessus, which is already in retrograde in that 12th house. Our grief, sorrow, shame, blame, skeletons in the closet, fantasy smacks you in the face with harsh reality, the illusion, the delusion, the rules, the walls, the boundaries. What will we create? Are we creating incorrectly? Are we still holding on to ideas and attachments of those ideas that are creating poorly? Because we're about to start receiving a lot of just rewards, but a lot of that also has to do with what you created. Did you create wrong? Because, like I said, this month is kind of like a standstill, do-over, backing it up, dumping the trash. And that post that I took from Matt was perfect, because with a lot of the energies that we're seeing, it was like a warrior in like a knight suit, and he's like petting a cat. And the idea of that meme was, you cannot truly find inner peace until you know your own violence and what you are capable of. Because, you see, inner peace and violence are a choice. This is where I'm always saying that we have to connect and understand our emotions and what we're creating and what is going on. Sometimes that train wreck, while it's all happening so fast, you feel like you're in the train wreck and you can't seem to stop it. That emotional connection. And I'm always saying you have to learn to control your inner chaos if you ever want to harness your full potential. It's the same thing. You have a choice to be violent because things aren't working. You have a choice to allow the darkest parts of us out, or to find that inner peace. This is the hard work. It's staring this stuff in the face and really being able to work through our inner turmoils to find that inner peace, because we're going to be challenged over the next 3 months. Especially starting to see it this month, but as we come into that Lionsgate, things get off the chain. I already told you got 9 planets in retrograde. We're still backing up that truck until we hit that equinox, and then it's forward movement, even though it's all retrograde. At that point, it's the truck. It's been dumped. It's been dumped. That truck is moving forward. So I hope you dumped it all, so that you can really see where we're going here. Not to mention, Spirit has been giving me over and over and over again. Back when it was 2020, I kept getting certain signs that I would bring back up. And I've been getting them again, but directed in different ways. And I understand better what this is. This has to do with the inner peace that we're creating. Like I just said, I used Matt's little image that I stole from him on Facebook because of that inner warrior choosing inner peace by knowing just how violent he can be, but chooses to be a positive, good influence. Because what Spirit keeps giving me is, you've got to understand, you have Pluto that's in retrograde. It's going to be retrograding back into Capricorn, where we're seeing this moon coming up next month's full moon. The coldest of places, we're really backing up we're looking at we're looking at like the last 20 years, little more than that, of where have we been on point and where have we been focusing incorrectly and not getting it right, so that we can, just whittle it just right to actually become and move us into the world we want to create. Because when Pluto comes back into Aquarius next year, oh, it's on. And we all want freedom. We all want to see that Aquarius energy, the age of Aquarius, and getting rid of the age of Pisces, the age of destruction, the age of lies and denial and deception. We're wanting to see the age of Aquarius pouring the higher waters down. But when we get that freedom, what will we do with it? Have we become the people that are ready for that? Have we become the vibration that's ready for that? Because a lot of this has to do with what will you be building next year? And what Spirit keeps giving me is, don't fuck this up, more or less, is they're giving me, because the alternate to this and working through this is the Hunger Games, is the Hunger Games, not that, I'm not going to go there. It's the Hunger Games or Mad Max, the Thunderdome. It's freedom is freedom for all. And not everybody's good. Not everybody's honest. Not everybody is pure. Not everybody is of love and heart. And this is making sure, did you do that work? Did you, put the shame in you to bed? Get rid of that karma. This is really looking at destroying the civilization and rebuilding it. And it's the warning that I'm getting with it. Along with, don't get held up on nostalgia you get right now. Because especially comfort nostalgia. Like those little memories you have of 20 years ago, 30 years ago, 40 years ago, that just keep popping up into your head. That's Pluto going, that right there is where you didn't get it right. That right there, you didn't close the door on that shit. There's still karma in that. Comfort nostalgia. It's not exactly where you really wanted it to be. There was something you fully did not get from it. And it's a warning of, pay attention, because there's something there with what's going on in here about us changing. 54 is the other thing that's being given to me. Now understand, 54 equals 9, but before we get into 54 equaling 9, what Spirit literally is giving me is Studio 54 sign. The old dance club, nightclub, Studio 54. And that gives you both ends of the spectrum here. Because it was the elites, it was all the partying, all the debauchery, all the worst of what we're trying to leave behind, versus truly being in our spirit and understanding. 5 speaks to you about adapt and change. In general, it is change. But it's being able to use that creativity to hold on to the good parts and adapt as needed. 4 is universe will have its way, ultimately. It is, the 4 seasons, the 4 directions, the 4 times of the day. And I say the 4 times a day because I mean morning, noon, night, midnight. The overnight part. The 4 that cannot be changed. It is the universal energy. So this means you have to work with this energy. It is not going to work with you. You have to work with it to get to the change. Bringing us to a 9, though, is saying it's the completion of an era, the completion of a path, the completion of a season. It's also giving me, with 54, Studio 54, dancing, bringing me back to, Okay, hold on. Bring me back to the court gesture. But it's also speaking to me about Jacko Vox. And I have to post more about this. But it's definitely something that Spirit is saying a lot of. Jacko Vox is something we need to start working on. Jacko Vox is jacking up central vibration within us. A lot of this has to do with humming, singing. Dancing comes usually with you enjoying the singing, the music, the vibration, and finding it fun. But while you're singing and you're humming, you are literally vibrating from the inside. You are bringing that vibration forward. Okay? And that has a lot to do with your calling card, which I'm going to get to in just a second. 54 is change, the end of a path. It is stop trying to control the direction. Stop trying to control it. Court gesture, go with the flow. It's going to be fine. It also is self-compassion, self-love. It is also speaking to us about if you will allow it, the universe is bringing something better your way. If you will accept it. Something more in sync with you and your vibration and where you are. It also is speaking to us about more awakening and more enlightening, personal growth and expansion, personal skills, personal learnings, helping us in general expand however it is that we need to. 54, when we look at it from the Hindu perspective, is half of 108, which Hindu is 108, sees it as a holy number. This is speaking to it connecting directly with the heart chakra and understanding in that heart chakra if you are in balance with your feminine and masculine. That right there is telling us a lot about what's going on here. Plus, you have so many in the blueprint, you have so many energies that you still have several in the head, which is Aries. Taurus still has Uranus here and Mars, I believe it is, and it is in the throat. You have Cancer and Gemini as we start getting into the arms and the chest and all of this and into like part of, I believe, the intestines in general. This is starting to get into all of this energy in these chakras as we come up and down. We have energies going all the way across to Virgo. So we are looking at pretty much sacral chakra up through the head. But I've been saying a million times that it's no longer suffice for you to only pay attention to the mediocre. And I say it that way because you can't do your true spiritual work on just the 7 chakras. You have to start working on all of your chakras, all of your emotions. And that does deal with the ones that are in denial and the lower consciousness of where the worst of us is in the lower part of the body. With me saying that, now I'm bringing you to the DNA and the purging of the karma. You have to understand the way that vibration and frequency works. A lot of us look at it from the perspective of what we understand, the pressure per second in hertz. Well, your body has its cycle of pressure, which is your vibration, which creates the sound waves that are coming from you directly. Every one of us, we're not on the same vibrational frequency, but our DNA is trying to upgrade. We have so many energies taking place right now between solar flare. I mean, we're getting X flares like they're normal anymore. We used to get all bent out of shape, and now unless they're really crazy high, we're kind of like, yeah, so we're feeling it. We're upgrading. But you have to understand, even though we're upgrading, I've heard so many people be like, well, you have a light body. Yes, you have a light body, but you are not in it. You are still in a 3-dimensional body. Your soul is in the light body. Your soul comprehends it. We have not created and developed the light body yet. And we won't if we are holding on to too much emotional sludge, too much mutated emotional energy that is still connected in our organs like fatty funk tissue, because it hasn't been cleared, it hasn't been cleaned, it hasn't that's what I'm saying. It's not enough to just work with your 7 chakras. We have to get rid of the karma and the sludge that is keeping us weighed down. When you think about Egyptian mythology, you weigh your heart against a feather. Technically, you don't get into Egyptian heaven if your heart is heavier than the feather. Well, it's the same idea. You can't have your light body when it's full of funk. It's full of emotional trauma and distress, of things that should not be in there in order to have the light body. We have to solve these things. We have to make peace with them. We have to face them down. And in order for us to do that, we have to understand that we're dealing with what vibrational calling card we are on. And what I mean by that is the vibrations as we are moving up, some will be higher than others because they're cleaned out more. They've worked harder on this. They've faced down their inner demons. They've faced down their traumas. They've done past life regressions. Or maybe it's not even past life regressions. It's just understanding things that we have to heal in our here and now. That creates a vibration, and you have to understand the highest of highest vibrations can't. I've said this a million times. It's like a ladder. It's like a ladder, but it's like margins. You've heard me say it's margins before. You have vibrational margins. And this is one vibrational margin. It could be music note C. Then you could have music note D, music note A, and all of them are on the ladder, okay? But the margin, like if you have a computer or old typewriter, and you have to stay within the margins. Well, the margin can go 1 to 10, and 10 is closer to the next margin. 1 is closer to that margin. But you have that area to work with. Okay? If you are in C vibration, music note, or ladder, A can't touch you. F can't touch you. This has a lot to do with your angels and higher entities of vibrational frequency that can communicate and help you, versus being in lower margins and lower entities and lower vibrations being able to communicate with you and direct that mind into that hive mind idea. We are trying to move up into out of 3-dimensional funk and move ourselves into higher vibrations, which means we have to clear that karma. We have to get rid. It's not just about the food you eat. Yes, the food they give us is shit, but we're also used to that shit. We have to start being responsible, not just for the food, but for the baggage that still resides inside. Emotionally, residual funk that's turning into fat and illness and disease. I deal with a lot of this stuff when I do blueprints on people. And if you're interested in a session, you can always just look me up, send me a message. I'll be happy to talk to you. I leave my sessions very wide open, very unstructured, so that I can help people in these different directions, because each one of us have different ways of doing it. But we're trying to move our DNA up into lighter energy. You can't go to Egyptian heaven if your heart is heavier than a feather. Same idea. You can't get into a light body when you're full of density, full of dense, heavy weight. And not all of it is just the body. A lot of it is the emotional storage of everything that traumatized us that we should not still be carrying. And this is about finding our emotional security and truly becoming the Queen of Cups. Balancing our masculine and feminine, being in control of our energies. That's why I didn't want to go into the blueprint this week. But like I said, you're always free to contact me if you want. And I'd be happy to set up a session with you. If I get into the astrology this week, the moon is going to be moving through Aquarius, Pisces, and then Aries. So this is saying Aquarius is more of just curious. It's I like to call it, the fireworks. You know that you're going to see the fireworks. You know that they're going to be in the air, but you have no idea what they're going to look like or exactly when they're coming. Aquarius is willing to take on City Hall, but it's also a little bit detached energy. Then we're moving into Pisces, which is all compassionate, loving, mysterious, but at the same time not always intelligent about it. We'll bring the stray dog home, taken advantage of. And then we move into Aries, me first energy and wanting to begin again. This is about us going through the cycles. You have positive energy this week. You have Grand Trine. You have Pluto, which is, like I said, moving its way back into Capricorn, but not yet. It's still in Aquarius right now. It is getting along great with Uranus, your independence, individuality, uniqueness, freedom, self-worth, self-value, self-esteem, and Taurus, manifesting according to your vibration and your self-worth, self-value, self-esteem. Talking about being in possession of yourself or others being in possession of you. Versus Lilith, your daily routines. Your mundane tasks has everything to do with the vibration you are in. Your people, places, and things. Your daily routines, the mundane, what you do repetitively, has a lot to do with the vibration you are in and what repetitive actions are we taking, speaking to our self-value, our freedom, and then bringing that back to your goals, your dreams, your ambitions. This has everything also to do with the groups and the memberships that you are keeping. Are they the right soul family? Or are you in a jail? Are they supporting you or manipulating you? And really understanding where this goes. This is positive energy of making sure that you're connecting with the soul family right now that is helping you to love yourself, but to also notice things that might need to change and use that in a positive way to further. This is happening all week. You also have Pluto and Jupiter, which are getting along great. And Jupiter is now in Gemini, so this is communication, learning how to communicate properly, using it to help you. Anything Jupiter touches, it amplifies, good or bad. Jupiter is connected with source energy, higher knowledge, manifestation. So this is talking about manifesting the new you and letting go of the trash, dumping that trash, what no longer needs to be with you. And then it's connecting it directly over to the South Node by acknowledging what you're holding on to that you don't need to be holding on to in relationships. But it's Libra energy. So this is also, don't create harmony where harmony is not meant to be. Sometimes you got to see some shit get stirred up in order to get you to make the right moves. This is a positive energy of making sure that the rules, walls, boundaries, the shifting is here for healthy relationships. All with that communication and knowing who you are. You have Mercury, which is getting along great with Saturn and Nessus. Nessus is already in retrograde. Saturn is going to go into retrograde on the 29th, pretty much the end of the week. So this whole week is in stop with the curse. It's the ancestral healing. It's where it just keeps getting passed down. The way that the world is, the way you've been taught that it is, the only way that you know it to be. Grief, sorrow, shame, blame, skeletons in the closet. 12th house, where the healing is having trouble taking place. Because it's a comfort zone. It's the only thing you know. Versus reshaping those rules, laws, and boundaries. Maneuvering them. Directly talking to your communication, which is in your 4th house. Cancer, inner emotional security. This is getting raw and true in depth with ourselves. And then letting the outer world see the healing we're giving ourselves. This is about caring about ourselves, our inner emotional security. You're not going to find it outside of you. But it's a positive thing if you're doing that work. If you're willing to face some of this stuff down, it will help you advance. The Sun and Venus in that 4th house also, Cancer, illuminating your inner emotional security versus 3-dimensional security, sensitivity, illumination, good or bad, because it's the Sun. It's also ego and pride. Speaking directly with Saturn midweek on the 26th and the 27th, and that Nessus as it goes over the curse. So something's going to happen right there in that heart chakra, inner emotional security, asking you, are you ready to step up to the plate? But it's positive energy. It's an opening to the healing if you're willing to step into it. You have sextiles, which are great. Sextiles are opportunities to move forward, but you must take the action. You have Mars, which is getting along great with Venus and Mercury as Venus and Mercury move closer together a little bit further into the week. Mars is still in that Taurus energy. It is still in that second house of your manifestation of who you are. Are you in the authority of you? Are you controlling the authority of you? Because Mars is your inner SWAT team, your inner warrior. But are you an intelligent warrior? Like I said, taking us back to, do you know your violence? And are you able to control it? Do you know your emotions, your shame, your fear, your anxieties? This is a positive action, though. Mars, your warrior, your inner sacral chakra in a form, because I always connect Mars to the belly dancer. You can be the biggest, fattest sumo wrestler, but if you're comfortable with who you are truly without lying to yourself about it, then you're going to have confidence. A warrior ain't going to be very good at being a warrior if he has no confidence. This is your Mars energy in the second house of the manifestation based off the self-worth, self-value, self-esteem. And it is speaking directly with Venus and Mercury in that 4th house of your inner communication, of the home. But this is the home, not just this. So it's going to really be spotting relationships within yourself, personal growth. Uranus in that second house also is sextiling Neptune and Nessus, and, well, technically in a form of sextiling, it is speaking with Nessus, Neptune, and Saturn, as well as connecting then over to Pluto from Neptune. So this is when the magic has no limits, has no good or bad. When the Saturn, the rules, the walls, the boundaries are kind of like eyes closed. but it's connecting to the Pluto energy, that outer world. Who are you? When it comes down to it, who are you? And what are you capable of? What will you do? All of this is placed in your hands. It's free will. But like I said, 12th house of Neptune and Pluto, no, I mean, Neptune and Saturn are kind of like doors closed, man. We're closed for the day. We've got our eyes closed. It's the crash. We're not going to be. This is up to you to direct this right. It is a sextile, but it is the opportunity to do it right now. Jupiter and the North Node are also speaking. This is, who is your character? How are you viewing the world around you? What is illuminated in that character of who and what you are? Speaking to Jupiter, higher knowledge, abundance, communication. But it's also speaking to short trips, close, up close, up close and personal to you. So this is, up close and personal, like neighbors, relationships that are very close to you, situations that could be something that are also growing, but showing who you truly are. The masks are off, because what just showed up in front of me is a raccoon, and when I get raccoons, it always is the mask. But it's also about being curious and playful, being willing to explore and try new things. These are sextiles, are trying to take the opportunity, chance, and try something new. This is a good time, but don't expect for everything to just open up. It's slow movement. You do have unpredictable energy, which could go good or bad, but it's not necessarily going to be easy. Okay, you have Pluto in that 11th house, which is in retrograde now. It's not getting along with the North. Well, I mean, it's in that unpredictable energy of the North Node. So this is also Pluto, the outer world, mirroring to you the character of who and what you're being, the vibration of who and what you're being. And how are you doing it this week? Are you happy with what you're getting mirrored back to you? About being an authority in your own world, or being pushed around and somebody else having authority over you, versus your goals, your dreams, your ambitions, the groups, the memberships that you're part of? Like I said, that's a mirror right there. Unpredictable, because you might be seeing things you're not prepared for, but it's a learning experience. And you might be seeing that you are more of exactly who you want to be. You have Chiron, which is having this energy with the 4th house. Chiron is also in the first. Similar in energy, just slightly different, because you are taking Sun, Venus, and Mercury in that 4th house of Cancer, your inner emotional security, which can never be taken from you, but you can misplace it. You can have it buried inside and not know how to undust it off to find it. Speaking with Chiron, the wounded healer, wanting in the 1st house of Aries to start a new cycle. This is about you. Everything in life is about you, but it's not about us being narcissistic. It's about what we create with our own reality. And are we creating what we want, or have we miscreated? You have Mars in the 2nd house, which is having a similar conversation with that South Node in the 7th house. Again, using the relationships that you're part of and the relationship you have with yourself to show you what you're manifesting, if you're in possession and power over yourself or not. Your self-worth, self-value, self-esteem, confidence, liberty, liberation, or not. The South Node is everything you're good at, but it's not good for you because it doesn't do anything anymore. It's a comfort zone. 7th house is relationships, but it's Libra. And I always say Libra is always wanting to make it better for everybody else, always putting themselves on the back burner, always, wanting to create harmony. Sometimes it's not about creating harmony. Sometimes it can't move forward until you allow the crash to happen. But these are unpredictable energies. So it's allowing it to take its course. Your hardest challenges this week, and they're big, is because the whole freaking bottom of the chart is fighting with Cancer. The whole bottom of the chart is fighting with Cancer. The North Node, Chiron, Neptune, Uranus, South Node, Lilith, all of them are fighting with Cancer in one way or another. The Sun, Venus, Mercury. Your inner emotional security is something that you have in here. And if you don't have it, it's because you haven't uncovered and pulled and cleaned and stared it down long enough to make acceptance with yourself, love yourself, and find inner peace. That's what this is. North Node, Chiron, Neptune, Uranus. South Node, Lilith. First house, 12th house, second house, 7th house, 6th house. So it's character of who and what you are. Is the healing taking place? Uranus, dealing with your manifestation according to being liberated or feeling naive or being naive. South Node, everything you're good at, but you're not making changes. You're staying in the comfort zone within the relationships. And Lilith is speaking about your mundane tasks, all about the home or the home. Mars and Neptune are not getting along all week, meaning having a little bit of fear about believing in yourself and creating what you want. Comfort zone's a bad place to be right now. Chiron and Jupiter, the wounded healer with the higher knowledge of the proper communication. Comfort zone's a bad place to be because we're getting into true depths of uncomfortability within ourselves. But once we shine that up like diamonds, your masculine, your feminine, your truth, we get rid of the shame, the fear, the anxieties, the doubts. We bring it back to ourselves. You will shine like a diamond. I love you guys. Bye.